Um, so yeah, this is our annual talk about all things Zen, where we've been this past year, where we're going for down the line in the future. But definitely the thing that's been most prominent on my mind, uh, it's been that AtGames cabinet because Mel, I'm not kidding
Yeah.
you, it's the only way I want to play pinball anymore. Ca- Playing on a dedicated cabinet is so amazing. It's like I know that you've seen that I had that pin sim cab that before, and I had a monitor that was in vertical, and that was one way of playing. But no, with a physical machine that you can nudge around and bash around on, it's amazing. That's definitely where it's at for me.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Because a lot of work has gone into that, and it's taken several generations and a lot of trial and error over the years. I think we've talked about the potential of cabinets, and I
Yeah,
think that we're finally just now getting to the point where like the vision is being realized.
yeah, and it seems like speaking with your partnership with that games in particular, uh, it's really been gaining momentum in terms of how often you've had releases coming. Obviously, you have what I think four skins out now for the machines, if I'm doing the
Yeah,
math
I'd have to
correctly.
count them. I mean, I know so Jurassic is the last one that we announced, and we've got Star
Star
Trek,
Trek.
Attack from Mars, Peanuts,
Oh, and Adams. So that's five.
and Adam's Family. Five.
Yeah. And that was of the I know way back when we I think we'd said what 15 was the target. Are we still looking at 15 down the line, or has that plan changed a little bit?
Yeah, I think we are. There's been a significant number of challenges in the manufacturing landscape, and PK over at Games, I think, has got to be one of the best in the world at managing this stuff because he's done it for so long. And even when he's talking to me about the challenges they're facing, it is a real tricky situation,
Yeah.
both just with uh, pieces of things available and materials, and then shipping costs and all this stuff. So we got out of the gate really good, and I think that it was really well timed. If we had waited a later for later, it might not have gone so smoothly. But we still have a plan to get all those machines out. It's just going to take a little while longer, but I'm looking at what we've done in this short amount of time. Five, and especially the licenses we have, I think it's pretty great. So yes, there's definitely more coming.
um, Obviously, this past year, a lot of I mean, basically since the release of Adam's Family, a lot of the focus had been on the latency issues, and that has since been shored up. The games play phenomenal now. They're really like it's really tight with the flipper and the ball going. You feel definitely connected. Can you dive into a little bit about what went into the solving that latency problem? Because it seems like you guys were in discussions with all sorts of people to try and solve this issue.
Yeah, I mean, we completely rebuilt the code base.
Oh,
we,
jeez.
Wow.
we went all the way back to zero, and everything is Linux based now. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was a monumental effort. This problem we worked on 18 months. I had I think feel like my team was about ready to give up. We never give up on anything. We found a few things which led us to where we went. It was a very painstakingly slow process. I know everybody was super patient with us, but now that it's done and we now don't have to worry about it anymore. We were literally celebrating when we got the test back and the latency was what it was and below 60 ms, and yeah, everything. So it's finally fixed, but probably one of the biggest efforts to fix a problem that we've ever had to do,
Yeah.
or spend resource wise.
Yeah, and I noticed that it wasn't just latency that got fixed. There were some graphical enhancements that went in when this all came back out. Certain tables all of a sudden looked a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the sound got balanced out so that it was all equal across. And it seemed like the surround sound kit all of a sudden was really being utilized much more than it had been previously.
Yeah, I think all this takes time to come together. We are software. At Games is hardware. Although I mean, yeah, they make their own tables too. But to bring two kind of companies in and really have to like get down into the nitty gritty to make everything phenomenal, it takes time. it's like, year after year, technologies get better and
Yeah.
they get a little cheaper. That's just a normal progression. So I think that we're in a place now where, all the cool, like the SSF kit. I don't know if you played Knight Rider yet, but in my opinion, like, dude, that thing is banging with the SSF with Knight
No,
Rider. It's awesome.
honestly, Knight Rider and Battlestar are just like putting it through a workout. It feels so good. And I was telling Jared this earlier, because I can play in OTG mode also. I have my computer hooked up to it. And while the lighting effects are and the graphics are a little bit, well, I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot bit better with just playing it in Pinball FX or playing in Pinball M, without that surround sound feel, it's not as immersive. Feeling the pop bumpers going off, feeling the ball rolling around, with everything, it just sinks you in, and you no longer are concerned about, oh my gosh, there's a jaggy on that rail. It doesn't matter anymore. It's about where is that ball, and you can tell what's firing and where it is on the table. It's
Yeah. Yeah, I think the overall experience is really, really great. And what we hear from a lot of players, I mean, their whole family is enjoying it. We have a wide variety of content, so it's, their kids can play them. Like, I have pictures. People send me their pictures, and it makes life great. Like, you see someone's little daughters playing My Little Pony, and then the mom and dad, like, and recently we've got, some of the M-rated stuff, and they're like, we're celebrating Halloween, and it's just like, it's cool.
yeah.
So that's what pinball should be about. And all the pieces, all the hardware is now in sync with the software, and we've gotten a lot of the issues behind us. I think now what we need to do is make sure that people can experience the machine in like more locations to figure out if they want to get one.
Yeah.
And I think that we're gonna, from here we should really start to scale up.
Do you feel like there is I know that PK made an announcement, something to the effect that there's 52 tables coming in 2025. When I did a breakdown of the math of what that meant, if I excluded all the Star Wars and the Marvel tables, there's exactly 53 tables that have not been ported over yet. I don't know if those 53 are the ones coming over or anything like that, but do you feel like there's a time where the tables are going to be day and date release on Pinball FX and then also at the AtGames platform?
Yeah, hopefully that'll happen in 2025.
Hmm.
I think that we have a release coming in June, and I think that's the target to launch day and day. So when Zen announces a game, you'll see the AtGames logo on the logo garden.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Circling back to that SSF kit, and just kind of some of the things I've noticed in general, bouncing back and forth between AtGames and playing OTG mode, or cabinet mode of Pinball FX and Pinball M. First off, is there a point where those games can utilize the surround kit in AtGames' cabinet? Or is that an exclusive thing to them?
Oh, from the OTG, I see what you're
Yes.
saying. No, that's an exclusive feature.
Okay.
All these builds of the games on AtGames are all extra work, extra coding, engineering. It's a special build for AtGames.
Okay.
So the OTG versions don't support the SSF kit.
Okay.
The Steam versions, right?
Yes, Steam. Similarly, I know that the table angle on cabinet mode in Pinball M and Pinball FX, it's kind of a slight angle, like the rails are going in a little bit towards the top, as opposed to, and this would be both with mobile, previous mobile versions, and then what's going on with AtGames, where it is a straight, right down the pipe, overhead look. Is that a choice specific to knowing that it's cabinet mode, even though you offer cabinet in Pinball FX, or is that something that maybe we'll see one day also pop into the games proper?
All right, so you kind of stumped me here because I'm actually not aware of that. So that is the detail of a product. Like, we should have deep. I'm sure it's a design decision, and I leave those for the most part now to the team. So
okay,
it's probably specifically for the format in which you're playing. We probably found that to be best on the AtGames unit.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
Yep. Good question, though.
Last one that kind of goes along with this in terms of the difference between having cabinet mode, just regular game, and when you're all of a sudden bringing it over to a cabinet. And I know that we've touched on this in the past, but every time a new title comes out, I have to go on the backglass hunt and find my own image to import it into Pinball Effects. And what's funny is that sometimes the images that then pop up on AtGames are completely different than what everybody else has been finding, whether on the Zen site or whatever. Is there a licensing reason or something that prevents Zen from just making them readily available or even shipping with the game itself?
It's a funny question, and it's something we've been talking about for years and years, right?
Mm.
um, I just don't think that we've seen the value in like doing it, or the request isn't big enough compared to the requests we have for everything else.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of art assets and management. And then when you do have to put all those through for licensor approval, and then they're always wondering like, where's this going to go? And are we going to monetize it? And all these questions. And I think it just gets bogged down because it's just an add-on asset. We're not charging for it, but we can't really, we show them a backlash and they kind of don't get it. But I mean, I just don't think there's been a concerted effort to go get it done. So
Okay.
I'm making a bunch of excuses, right? No, I mean, like we should probably, at this point, now that we've solved all these other issues, we could probably figure this out.
Okay. Moving beyond that, so you were talking about how right now you're able to kind of focus more on, now that you've got the latency issues and all that, centering your focus once again, narrowing it down, and being able to work on the content more with AtGames. I'm curious to know, in general, how are we feeling about is Zen where they want to be with those releases with 4K, or are there even dreams and aspirations that you guys are hoping to still pump through later down the line?
You mean with actual 4K?
Just using the 4K cabinet. I'm talking about the 4K, the AtGames 4K cabinet.
What we want to do with it.
Yeah.
I think there's so much potential here. I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of, because we do have plans for more live services and events and things that people can participate in, and building that sense of community. And I think that there's a lot that we can do when a player's invested that much money, or I consider it like a family has invested that much money in this unit and it goes into their home. Of course, we want to give them a steady stream of content that they can have fun with. But like, there's more that we can do with that content. We can provide them more value with every table. It's not just that they have to play it. And we have their leaderboards, and now they're doing the Flipper Friends tournaments and things like that. I think that you'll see those ideas like blossom into larger scale events, and we can tie those in with our licensors. We can celebrate other forms of what's going on in the fandom of those IPs, perhaps. I don't know, maybe like there's esport level activity where it's money on the line. There's a lot of cool things that we could potentially do.
The potential for releasing these cabinets in the physical world, again, I know this is not has nothing to do with you guys. It would be entirely AtGames, but I know that recently I saw Stern had their Jurassic Park Home Edition in Costco, and people were playing it. And I know the last Christmas, that's when I saw the Arcade 1-Up Star Wars in Costco. I imagine that that's what you're talking about with getting these out there more, is being able to maybe have these at physical locations.
Exactly, and that is definitely on our roadmap. You will see these machines. I think I can say it. I mean, I don't know. You'll see these machines in retailers. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say which one specifically, but I think people will walk up to this. They know. I mean, most people know what to do when they walk up to a pinball machine. That's the beauty of it. Mm-hmm. They have to hear it and feel it and be like, whoa, this thing is for real. This really feels good and it plays well. And look at all these games. I think our price point is really, really attractive. I think how the quality of the machine and it not breaking down is really, really great. And then when you turn it on, you connect it to Wi-Fi, all the things you get to do with it. So I think it's not a hard sell. People just need to be able to know it exists and get a feel for it.
Honestly, that's my favorite part, is that from the time I flick the switch to the time I'm playing, it's 1 minute. And then even table to table, it's only maybe like a 15-second load screen. It's just boom, you're in it and you're going. I have a little. My wife does daycare at the house, and I have a one of them is 3 years old. This boy, and he's now addicted to pinball. He just wants to play the dinosaur tables, and so first he was playing Dino Dynasty, and then Jurassic Park came out, and he doesn't even touch Dino Dynasty anymore. It's the 3 Jurassic Park tables. So it's really kind of fun watching him and watching his pinball skills elevate. It's kind of mind blowing just watching that happen in real time. So yeah, I definitely see where that potential is.
Cool.
People getting their hands on them. I also want to comment with those that block of tables that'll be coming next year. And I know that just this past month, it seems like we've had a table release almost weekly. And I do gotta say, it felt like Rock Band as they were releasing new music tracks every week. If you're on top of it, you don't even notice the cost because, and I definitely have to applaud you guys with your pricing. $5 a table has been great. It doesn't feel like it's not as painful when you're dropping in those little doses, as opposed to a much larger pack where all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe I have to think about that, because it's one thing to think, oh, just one less Starbucks a week, as opposed to, oh, I'm gonna have to not go out to lunch for 2 days. It's,
Yeah.
um,
I think, I mean, because you've been there kind of since the beginning. I think
yeah,
a new user, and this is a problem that we have in pinball world in general, is a brand new player comes in and holy crap, like there's
right,
just, I can spend so much, it's too much. I do think someone, this family or the player who's investing this much money, I think they're, yeah, they turn it on right now. There's a good amount of content, but at some point it's going to be like, well, this is a lot.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So
That's okay. People like the choice. People like the variety.
I do think the pricing is good though. I agree with you.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems fair. I think that was my biggest concern. Was what was going to be the difference in price between if you bought it on Steam and if you bought it on this cabinet. And then just like I said, that surround sound kit, it's an essential thing to buy, folks. If you haven't bought one of these machines yet, get the surround sound kit. It's the deal. It's what makes all the difference in the world. And it's like I said, I shouldn't say I definitely prefer playing these versions over going OTG and bringing in those because it's instantaneous and that feel is what makes it just hands down. So, no, I definitely gotta say, Mel, that great job on making this happen. Um, have you noticed? And I don't know again if this is anything that you want to talk about. Just the district. I know that when you were with partnered with One Up, that there was a distribution issue, and obviously that was during the COVID era, so massive amounts of problems going on there. Um, Distribution of this, obviously, like you said, there's been some manufacturing differences, but I believe that they're doing things in America now. Is that what my understanding is correct? Some
Well, things
assembly.
are, some assembly might be done here. I mean, we have everything is shipped into the port of LA, and I
Okay.
know we have a distribution center in somewhere in Georgia. I believe it's Savannah, Georgia. Um, but I think that the factors with AtGames are different than what happened with Arcade One Up.
Mm.
I think Arcade One Up lost interest in the category for whatever reason, and AtGames we're just suffering from global shortages, which there's no way that they could control or have an effect on. So it's two different things. Like the issues, I wouldn't even call them issues. I just think that they're factors and
Yeah.
they're things that you couldn't have planned for or guessed. And even then, that game's investment into this is huge, and they've bought ahead. They put a lot of they risked a lot to go forward with this. So I as far as a partnership goes, like I'm impressed that they would go in. It feels good. Like Zen is investing a certain amount, and they are, but on the manufacturing side, like I can still hit a button and distribute to all hundreds of millions of players, right?
Yeah.
With the push of a button. They are focusing on growing a very specific segment of this business, and it requires a lot of upfront. And so they're trying to minimize all of the issues that we're facing, but some of it might be like we can't get to 15 different designs in the time that we wanted. Well, here's 5. I still think that that's a fantastic result
Yeah.
so far.
All right. Well, that's enough of the AtGames talk. Jared, let's turn some things over to you so you can get a chance at asking a question or two.